Hi everyone, this is Paul from digital creative agency The Monsters from Amsterdam. And today I'm going to show you our newest application, which is Monster Debugger 3, an open source debugger for Flash, Flex, and Air applications, completely built in Air. And you can download it for free from monsterdebugger.com, which I'm going to do right now. And as you can see, it's an Air file, so if you hit it, you can just install it straight away. Once it's there, let's hide this real quick. It'll launch straight away. As you can see, it has a totally new layout and also some pretty nice new features which I'm going to show you today. And the first thing that you'll probably do is include the Monster Debugger in your own project. You can do this by using this little form. So I'm going to start an ActionScript 3 project, target at the web, and when I hit export, it'll let me save a SWIC file, which I already did. So I'm going to cancel this. Just get this back. Now open up Flash. So in Flash I have a very small project. There's a couple of things I need to do to get the Monster Debugger working with this Flash file. First of all, I need to add the Monster Debugger SWIC to my library path. So I already did this, so I can skip this. And then in my ActionScript file, I need to import the Monster Debugger by using import com.demonsters.debugger.monsterdebugger. Then in your main class, you can initialize the debugger by stating monsterdebugger.initialize this. And after that, you're set to use all the other features. One of the main ones that a lot of people use is the trace functionality, which you can start by this method. You just call trace and then send anything you want. You can send a string, but also an object or an array. But let's just show how it works. So here we have the SWIFT. And then when I pull up the Monster Debugger, you see that it's connected to it. So it shows you the application tree, it shows you the public properties, methods, a memory monitor, and also, right here, the trace message that I just sent. Now if you trace an array or an object, it will show you a complete tree of that object or array, but that also works with XML or custom classes and even combinations of those, so it's a really handy little tool. But instead of building onto this SWIFT and showing you what you can do with it, or with the debugger, I'm going to show you a different project, which is our own Monster Debugger the Game. It's a project that we created specifically for you guys to kind of get to know the debugger, its different functionalities, and what you can do with it. So you can play that online, but also as an Air application that you can download. So let's start. When I hit play, we're introduced with our own Monster Debugger monster. He's flying around, he's cruising, he's having fun, but of course that can't last forever. Danger is about to strike, and it does so quite literally, so he gets struck by lightning. He loses his wings, and he falls down, and he falls deep too, all the way into the monster caves. And now it's up to us to get him through the caves and back to the rest of his monster family. So it's a little platform game. I could just walk around here. And there's the exit. But there's also a little hint, and it tells me maybe if you change the strength. But what are they talking about? Well, we have a little monster here, the bouncing belly monster, which the Monster Debugger instantly shows. And it has a strength property. Now right now, I'm not jumping high enough. But I can use the debugger to change this public property to a higher level. So let's set this to 25, and now all of a sudden I'm jumping high enough. So now I can reach the end of the level. And what we basically did is we changed a property at runtime, which you can do with the Monster Debugger. So any public property that you have, you can just change within the debugger itself. On to the next level, where we have a different feature, of course, that we're introducing. So there's a green monster here. I'm going to leave him alone right now. First find the exit. Okay, the exit is over there, but of course I can't reach this. But the hint tells me that if I point and shoot myself towards the next level, I might get there. And I'm going to use this monster for it. When I jump in, he swallows me, and you instantly see that we have an angle and a speed over here. Alright, so let's change this, because this will probably have something to do with the way that I'm going to shoot myself. So let's change the angle to 45, the speed as well. You see there's a little crosshair right there. The crosshair has moved, so it's going to show where I'm going to go. But now what? I still have to shoot myself to the other side of the level. And we can do that by running public methods. So the monster spitter has a method called shoot. If I double click on it, I get this new method window, which has a button run and tells me that it doesn't need any parameters. So if I click it, it actually runs the method. You can do this with all public methods again, or most public methods at least. And that can be very easy, you know, if you're looking to test a different method that you've created, you can just do that straight from the Monster Debugger. And that has helped us along another cave. So on to the next. In level 3, what we're noticing here is that there's a rock that is blocking us. So we need to get across, but we can't get there. But hey, there's trace messages right here. So the tracing that I also used in the other small swift is here as well. So we have one in red that is traced by the angry rock and has a label called blocked. And it says, no monster passes me without a scratch, especially the little ones won't. But the monsters are tracing roar. Monsters can scare even the most evil stones. So let's do it. Again, he has a method called roar. So if I run this, there we go. We're scaring the angry rock. Now it's small enough so I can push it. I can jump up. And there I am at the end of the level. One step closer to getting back to the family. So what I just showed you, like the coloring and the users, can be used to kind of show different levels of traces that you're doing, but also to show you what users in your team have actually traced what kind of messages, which is really useful if you're building a project with a lot of different people. But you can find your own ways of applying this. But on to the next level. So here, again, the bouncing belly monster. But this time, there's something new that's been introduced, and that's this guy. The big leg that is blocking my way. I probably have to go across. But how do I do this? So I can go up to the hint right here, but I can also just try and solve it. So there's a monster tail, and it has a method called riddle. And once I run this, the same method window pops up, but this time it does have input. So if you have a method that requires some input, you can actually give the method input straight from the Monster Debugger. We'll try to give you as much information as we can, but sometimes we can't show you that much. But in this case, we know that you need a string. So if I run this, it'll also give me the return message. So this time it says, how many stars does the black box monster pass on his quest? So maybe you've noticed that within the different levels, there's all sorts of different paintings on the walls. And these paintings actually tell a story about the next application that we're going to launch, which is black box. So feel free to look around the levels and kind of find the story about this. And right here, this monster is the black box monster, and he passes 1, 2 stars. So now if I tell him that he needs 2, I'm allowed to pass because I solved the riddle. So on to the next level. And within this level, we're introducing a completely new feature, which is very exciting if you ask me. So we see right here that there's a very complex tree with a lot of display objects, and that's what you will typically see if you're running the Monster Debugger. So now if I'm trying to get across, oh, I'm hitting something. I can't reach the end of the level, but there's nothing to see here. So let's go back to the hint. The hint tells me, with highlight and inspect, you shall find what has been hidden. So highlight and inspect is one of the new features. It's right here below the application tree. So if I check highlight and inspect, I can actually hover over different display objects and it will highlight them and show me information about it. You'll see that the different paintings on the wall are actually tracing messages too. So that's the way you can find the different story elements. So if I click on it, it will inspect that different movie clips, even the ones that are not shown. So that's interesting. So right here, there's an invisible object that's blocking me. So if I use highlight and inspect here, Boom, there it is. There's the wall. So right now if I click on it, I can inspect it, and I can change the public properties. So let's change the Y to 100. So I'm moving it now, and now I can move on to the next level. So the highlight and inspect can be real useful because sometimes your application tree can be quite complicated and it can be hard to kind of inspect the object that you're trying to debug or trying to get more information from. You can do this using functions. You can call Monster Debugger.inspect and then pass the object in code, but you can also use the highlight and inspect method right here, and a lot of times that's a lot faster. So on to level 6, which is also the last level in this game. So again, we have a big monster leg blocking our way, but this time we do not have one tail, no, we have a lot of different tails. So what I could do is I could, try every single tail and try to open the door, but that's probably not very effective. So there's a different function, a new function that you can actually use. And this time it's a snapshot. So right here in the traces you see that there's a new message called snapshot. And if I open it, I can see that a snapshot has been sent by the application to the debugger. So what you can do is you can call monsterdebugger.snapshot, pass a display object in it, and it will show you a snapshot of that visual property. And within this snapshot, we also added a little hint for the tail that you actually have to use. So now what I can do is I can put this right here, just compare them. This one is rather easy to find actually because it's the first one on the second platform. So go there. That's the one that I need. So let's call the method roar. There we go. Let's run it, and now I'm allowed to pass. And now finally the monster can go outside. You can go back to the normal monster world with the rest of his friends. We hope you really appreciate this. We've had a lot of fun creating this game. I think it's a fun and an easy way to kind of discover the different features that we build into the Monster Debugger. Of course, you still need to find out how to implement them into your own projects, but to go there or to kind of show you how that works, you should go to the tour, monsterdebugger.com/tour. So let's load that up. Okay, so in here you can see that we have different chapters kind of helping you find your own way, and there's one of them that I still want to point out to you, which is breakpoints. Breakpoints are new with Monster Debugger 3 as well. So if you call monsterdebugger.breakpoint in your own code, it will actually pause your code when you're right there. So it will pause your application, and at that time you can enter a stack trace and also show like the actual line number that you're working on. And what you can also do if you're running like the debug player or the Adobe Debug Launcher, you can always pause your application at any moment that you want and just pause it. So you can inspect the application in its state that it is in at that time. So thank you very much. I hope you'll enjoy the Monster Debugger and the game as well. Please let us know about your experiences with both of them, and if you have any feature requests, also do let us know because we would love to implement new functionalities for you guys that you can use within Monster Debugger 3.